1953 Chevrolet Businessman's Coupe. It must have been back in 1962 that our family got a 1953 Chevrolet Businessman's Coupe. My father bought it to replace his 1953 Mercury that had quit running and was sold to the junkyard for $50. Yes, $50, which was a lot of money back then. Anyway, back to the 1953 Chevrolet Businessman's Coupe. Now you must understand that this is how I remember it. The 53 had a brown top with a cream bottom and cowboy seat covers. A 3 on the tree stick shift with an inline 6-cylinder engine. Now the paint job looked like someone used a brush to paint it, but what the heck, it still looked good. My father drove that Chevy for a couple of years until my mother inherited her father's 1962 Plymouth Savoy. That was sandstone in color. Again, 3 on the tree, stick shift, but with a slant 6-cylinder engine. Now back to the 1953 Coupe. My older brother was getting out of the Navy, and then 1953 was to be his. Now again, the way I remember it. One day, when he was driving on Q Street, around 38th, he had an accident, and the front end was banged up. So I told him that I knew a guy that had a 1954 Chevy with a great front end, and we could swap the front ends. I could go into a really long story about how much the 54 Chevy cost, who it was bought from, and then who it was sold to after the front ends were replaced, but I will not at this time. Anyway, my brother and I did screw up, though, on replacing the bumper bracket because the 54 had a different one than the 53. So what the heck, the bumper was left off. Next thing was, my brother had the car painted at Auto Renew on 24th Street across from South High School, right up the street from the Chief Theater, for the unheard of price of $29.95. A lot of money back then. Something to note here is that Chevrolet last made a businessman's coupe back in 1953. So in fact, now, with a 1954 front end, this became the world's only 1954 businessman's coupe, or as I used to call it, a 1953 and a half. When my brother let me, I loved driving that car and almost bought a yellow 1954 Chevy on eBay today. But my better sense and old age helped me make the decision not to. Anyway, thanks for listening or reading my ramble on today.